Fellow FPL managers, today we are looking at what I believe is the best wildcard team you can make for game week 6. So make sure you like and subscribe and let's get right into it. There is going to be no faffing about today, guys. Straight into the goalkeeper position. We have Vicario. Now, Vicario has done very well so far this season, and there is a couple reasons why, and it's mainly down to Thomas Frank joining Spurs, which may sound very random, but if you played FPL a little while back, the last couple years, you'll know Flecken was an amazing goalkeeper choice in FPL, despite having not a lot of clean sheet potential, and it was because of the save points. Now, for some reason at Brentford, Flecken faced a high number of shots from outside the box, which meant a lot of easy save points while not conceding too many big chances, and it's looking the same for Vicario, except this time round Vicario is keeping a lot of clean sheets, a lot more than Flecken was, and still getting a decent amount of save points. So in Vicario, you've got a keeper with decent clean sheet potential, as he's shown so far this season, and potential for very high save points, which he's also shown this season. Then, as your 4 million goalkeeper, you've got Dubravka starting for Burnley. It's a no-brainer. He's a 4 million goalkeeper that starts regularly. He's not going to get you loads of points, but he also does well for the save points. In defence, I've kind of gone a bit differential. With the Arsenal defence, Arsenal are the best defence in the league. We all know this. They've been the best defence in the league for multiple seasons in a row. Now, playing away to Newcastle seems like a tough entry point, and, you know, it's a red fixture on paper, but the two best defences in the league this season, based on expected goals conceded and expected clean sheets, is Arsenal and Newcastle. So that could be, and probably will be, a very low scoring game. Newcastle going forward have also not offered a lot either. If I was on wildcard using this team, I would opt to keep one Arsenal defender on the bench just to keep my options open in case Arsenal do fail to keep a clean sheet. But they've only conceded 2 goals this season, one to Liverpool and one to Man City, so Arsenal are looking incredibly solid. After that Newcastle game as well, the Arsenal fixture run is insanely good, the best in the league debatably, so having double Arsenal defence is going to be an absolute cheat code if you guys are on wildcard. I think it's essential. I think it's the best thing you can do with your defence. While we are on the topic of Arsenal versus Newcastle, we will talk about our Newcastle defender. Even though the next 2 Newcastle games aren't amazing, Dan Burn has a really good DEFCON potential, and like I said, using underlying data, Newcastle are the best defence in the league this season, so there is a lot of potential for clean sheet points in the upcoming game weeks. I know the next 2, like I said, aren't amazing, but the ones that follow are really good, and he can rotate with the other 5 defenders in this team quite nicely. Going back to the defenders in our starting lineup now, we have Chalobah, who's got 3 goal involvements in 5 games with the underlying data to back it up. He is 4th for expected goal involvements among defenders so far this season, and the Chelsea fixture run looks really good going forward. They do have Liverpool next game week, which isn't great after they play Brighton. But following that, the Chelsea fixture run is really good, one of the best in the league on par with Arsenal. So in Chalobah, you're getting a lot of potential for goal involvements and a lot of potential for clean sheets. So he, for me, in a wild card would be another no-brainer, someone I do not want to be missing out on. Usually picking a defence is the hardest part of picking an FPL team, but with a game week 6 wild card, it's almost so simple because the last one is Senesi, the best play for defensive contributions in the game. I don't think he's missed DEFCON points once this season, and Bournemouth have an amazing defence. The top 4 defences in the league are obviously Arsenal and Newcastle, along with Bournemouth and Liverpool. Bournemouth have a very strong defence. Despite losing 3 of their starting backline last season, their defence has come back this season looking even stronger, which is an absolute mystery to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Technically speaking, their defence should have got a lot worse, but it's gone the opposite way and got a whole lot better. So please, 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 if you're on wildcard or you're just looking to buy a defender, please go for Senesi. He's such a good option for under 5 million. It's kind of ironic that I'm urging everyone to get Senesi in their teams, even though I don't have him and I'm not going for him this game week. My team's just in a bit of a different spot to everyone else's. It's looking quite strong and I'm not in the position to make a defender transfer. But if I was, guys, believe me, it would be Senesi. In midfield, we are kicking it off with Bruno Fernandes, and I will say one thing before we talk about Bruno is that if you do need to save money on this draft and you can't afford it, going from Bruno to Mbeumo is a great choice. It's a coin toss between picking those 2. I'm simply going with Bruno just because of the DEFCONs and the penalties. But if you can't afford him, Mbeumo from Man United is a fantastic alternative. Anyway, on to Bruno. Like I just said, he's got DEFCON potential, he's on penalties, he's got goal threat outside of penalties, he's got creative potential, he's got it all. If he scored his penalty in game week 2 and didn't miss it, he would be the 2nd highest scoring midfielder in the game, slightly behind Semenyo. When you put that into perspective, you understand how good of an FPL asset Bruno Fernandes is. With a lot of expensive midfielders, with Bruno, you got Wirtz, you got Saka, you got Palmer, there's not a lot of certainty around them. Like Saka might have lost penalties, Palmer's on bad form, Wirtz is awful. Bruno is the only one you can look at and say, you know what you're getting and you know it's going to be good. He's not a player you'd ever need to transfer out either, because in them tough games, he's still on a lot of set pieces and he's still got DEFCON potential. So he's someone you won't need to change at all. He's set and forget in your team. It's perfect. We're surrounding Bruno with a lot of cheaper players. Obviously, we've got Semenyo here, the best value player in the game. I don't need to talk about Semenyo too much. The Bournemouth fixture run is still really good. Semenyo, even when he doesn't get a goal involvement, somehow gets DEFCONs, which is fantastic. But usually he will be getting a lot of goals anyway. We have Ndiaye next, who somehow has not gone up in price once since the beginning of this FPL season, despite only blanking once in game week 1. The guy's got a really good fixture run coming up. It's looking bad for people who don't own him. I cannot believe his ownership is still under 10%. At this point, he's still a differential, which is getting a return every single game week. His underlying data is fantastic. He's on penalties. I can't see why people wouldn't bring him into their FPL teams. And this, playing home to West Ham, is the perfect entry point. So if you guys are looking for a midfielder, or you're on Wildcard, if you are watching this video, you probably are on Wildcard. Ndiaye is such a high priority midfielder. Please get him into your team, guys. You will not regret it. He is so consistent. We then have Ryan Deers coming in very cheap, playing home to Burnley at 5.6 million. What I will say about Ryan Deers is he is a little overhyped. At 5.6 million, you're getting a good value player, but he's not amazing. I did think he was going to face a lot of rotation. Now, Man City have been playing Champions League football, but he played 80 minutes in the midweek, and then on the weekend, last game week, still started. So he's clearly not a rotation risk, or at least he isn't a rotation risk at the moment. He's a very cheap player who's starting in the Man City attack regularly, and that's why he's a good player to go for, because the Man City fixture run is really good. I just wouldn't expect a ton from this guy. His data isn't great, and he did technically cheat DEFCON points last game week. He got 11 DEFCONs, but before the game week ended, he was on 12, so FPL gave him the extra 2 points, then closed the game week. Then Opta found out he only had 11 DEFCONs and it was too late to change. So Ryan Deers owners got very lucky there. Clearly, I'm salty about it because I don't own him. At the end of the day, Ryan Deers, you get what you pay for. Good value player, and he's got a good fixture run, so I think you should bring him in. He saves you a lot of money and enables you to buy the expensive players on this team. Just don't expect Bruno Fernandes or Semenyo level numbers from him, okay? Our fifth midfielder on the bench is Stark from Leeds, and it may seem like I'm just jumping on the bandwagon since you got a high scoring game week last game week, but I actually recommended you buy Stark before last game week, so I'm technically a genius because I said you should buy him before he even got that 15 pointer. And the reason I recommended you guys buy him in is because he's a little version of Bruno Fernandes, you know. He's got goal threat, he's got assist potential, he's got DEFCON potential. So in a way, he's like a cheap, worse version of Bruno. And looking at the Leeds fixture run right now, it's looking like one of the best fixture runs in the league, and Stark is their best player with reliable minutes. So it makes sense to bring him in now. If you wait too long, it might be a little too late. On Wildcard though, considering he's only costing 5 million, it seems like a no-brainer because he's 0.5 mil more than the cheapest possible player in the game, and he's going to give you a lot of value for how much he's worth. You could even start him this game week, but the Bournemouth defense is pretty solid, so I've opted to leave him on the bench. If I was going to wildcard, I'd probably leave him there, but you could make a case for starting him. In the front three, we are going to start with Gyökeres. The reason why I think you maybe want to start Stark instead of Gyökeres is because, like I said earlier, that Newcastle defense is really good, so you could make that switch if you are on wildcard. The reason I said you guys pick Gyökeres in the wildcard team, despite them having a tough game offensively against Newcastle, is that the Arsenal fixture run gets so good after that Newcastle game, and having Gyökeres to attack those fixtures, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. He could be on penalties. He's on all right form at the moment. He's got good underlying data. He's got good expected goals per 90. He's getting the big chances. He's getting the shots in the box. If he does have penalties, he's definitely a must-own player, but we'll have to see what happens when Saka is back. I imagine Gyökeres most likely blanking in game week 6. I'm going to be honest, you know, I'm not going to say he's doing well this game week because he's got a really tough game. But after that, the fixtures get so good for Arsenal, I don't think you can ignore it. I think he's going to be scoring a goal almost every game when he's playing them green fixtures. So definitely a player you want for the long term. And who knows, like I said, he could be taking penalties off Saka, and if he does, that makes him almost essential. Then we have Pedro here. He's very scary to go without. His ownership is 70%, and he's got good data. He's on good form. If he gets a high return, some good points, and you don't own him, he's going to absolutely kill your rank and kill your game week, even if he only scores 1 goal. It doesn't make a lot of sense to go against him when other options are only slightly better or on par with him. There's almost no point taking that risk, because if you do take that risk and it pays off, let's say you pick Mateta instead and Mateta gets a 9-pointer, yeah, that's cool. But if Pedro gets a 9-pointer as well, you've taken that risk for almost no return. And like I said earlier in the video with Chalobah, the Chelsea fixture run gets so good, very soon. Even that Liverpool game, when João Pedro plays against them, I wouldn't put him on the bench because Liverpool's defence, while it's good underlying data-wise, they're conceding a lot of goals this season. So I think playing João Pedro for that Liverpool game wouldn't be a bad idea. I think he'd be in with a good chance of a return. With the 15th player in this team, you guys already knew who it was going to be before the video even started. Erling Haaland is the best player to bring in for Game Week 6 and someone you must own on Wildcard because he is playing home to Burnley. Burnley, if you guys didn't know, are the worst defence in the league this season. They have the most expected goals conceded by quite some bit. So you guys on Wildcard Game Week 6 could bring him into your Wildcard team and make him your captain, but he wouldn't help your rank that much because everyone else is going to be on Haaland. They're going to bring him in and they're going to captain him. The only difference is people who aren't using Wildcard have the opportunity to triple captain Haaland, which is what I'm doing. So if you bring him in, don't expect a massive boost in rank if he does well. You're having him just for safety. Like, if you don't have him, you're dead. You're cooked. There's no return. A fun fact about Haaland is that he's been in the Premier League for 3 seasons, and in the opening 6 game weeks, he's beat the 60-point tally twice. The other time he didn't beat it, he got 50 points. Now, he's currently on 46 points, so if he keeps up that trend of beating the 60-point tally, he will get at least 14 points. If I had to predict in a realistic scenario, I would say he's going to get 13 points, you know, hopefully. He's my triple captain. I'd want him to do more than that, or at least that. But he's got the opportunity for more. I think with Burnley's awful defence, even if they play a low block, they're going to be conceding 3 or 4 goals. We just need to hope those goals come at the hand of Erling Haaland, or the foot of Erling Haaland, should I say. If there's any of you out there who are watching this video and you're going without Haaland in Game Week 6, I suggest you just delete your app before the game week even starts. And I mean that with all kindness. I'm saying that with love because I want to protect you from the pain you're going to see when you get the biggest red arrow of all time. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Let me know what you think of the wildcard team down in the comments. What would you change and what would you keep the same? If you did make it this far, thank you very much for watching. You are greatly appreciated and I will see you all in the next video.